All right, once again, we on with the Pay Me No Mind show. This is your boy Wood. Got a very special show coming up for you. I know I dropped one last night on my NBA and craft beer series, but I had to come back right away with a very special guest. I've been in contact with online the last week and a half or so, but I actually have a professional boxer, Mr. Jeff the Nightmare Kemp. You can say hello to the people, man.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, sounding good in here, so we got good sound. Jeff is a fighter out of Dayton, Ohio, but as I just learned earlier today, he's actually traveled the world with the In the Fight game. So we'll get all to that. But I mainly brought him on here because one, he's a professional athlete from my city, and I want to shine some light on what he's trying to do. And then secondly, he actually has a pretty big night coming up March 19th in Kettering, Ohio at Trent Arena. It'll be one of the first fights for Pearson Promotions, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So Pearson Promotions is a company coming up out of Dayton, Ohio in the boxing game. You're already familiar if you've been watching boxing. Chris Pearson, Mayweather fighter, or Money Team, however you want to look at it. NBC Sports Network. He was on there for the Premier Boxing Champions series right before Christmas. So how's it going, man?
Everything so far, man. Just taking the journey.
Okay, well, I appreciate it, man. I didn't get into your weight because I had some questions on that, because everything I watched earlier today was at 160. Right. And now it looks like, looking at some of your pro fights, you were coming in at welterweight or even junior welterweight. So what do you consider yourself moving forward?
Welterweight.
Welterweight, okay.
That's the weight we're going to stick at and take over the weight class right there.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was odd, because I think I had looked at your pro record first before I started looking at some of your fights. You can find Jeff on YouTube right now. He's got about 3 or 4 fights on there for the World Series of Boxing. So you can check him out there, Jeff the Nightmare Kemp. So really quickly, man, how did you get started in the fight game coming up out of Dayton, Ohio? I'm a little familiar with your story just for some Dayton Daily News articles, but how'd you get started in this?
When I was young, my stepdad was fighting for the same coach that I actually started my amateur career with, Kenny Milliner. My stepdad, Michael Bostic, was fighting for him. He was a good fighter and everything, so just kind of followed in his steps. Was going to the gym with him. Everything like that. The rest is history. The rest is where we at.
Okay. So this started at 18 for you?
Yeah, just about. That's when I actually started doing all the big tournaments and everything like that. My name basically started getting more recognized as far as boxing.
Okay. So I did read an article that Mr. Milliner, or Coach Milliner, is that your trainer to today?
Yes, one of them.
That's what you're working with? Okay. I saw that he had some concerns initially about you getting a later start in the game, being that you're 18. And, I commend you for kind of overlooking that and just following your heart, and maybe something that you picked up a little more naturally than others. Were there any concerns with you maybe getting in the game? Well, backing it up, what did Kenny think was a good starting time for a fighter? What age? Like
normally fighters, like championship fighters, they normally get started while they're young, like around the age of 8, 10, and everything like that, and then just kind of build their way up. Kenny actually he didn't think that I would actually go this far with it because of me starting late. Same thing here. Like, I didn't plan to go this far. Like, at the time, I was just doing it for a workout, and just to get into the boxing world, like, as far as with the amateur career and everything like that. I didn't actually plan to make as much noise as I actually did. Okay. What,
you played any other sports in high school, man, or?
Played basketball and football for Dunbar.
Okay. Were you started in both of those, or?
Football I started, basketball I not really, didn't really last long because of the grades.
Okay. So I talked to you earlier in the week, as we were in contact online and everything. You said you actually work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., man. So please tell me, how does a professional fighter trying to maintain this elite level of fitness and whatnot in one of the most challenging sports in the world, how do you manage that with the training and then the 12-hour work shifts, man?
With my whole thing, like my whole mindset with that is I'd rather be tired than broke. Like, I still get up, run, everything of that sort, so it don't really affect anything. I'll be tired, but at the same time I'm getting the work done that I need to get done to get to where I need to be.
What's a typical workout for you? How long does that last? We already down to just 12 hours left. You got to get some sleep in.
I literally be going off probably like 2 hours, 3 hours of rest.
Okay.
Like, and that's just on and off power naps. Like, not actually just laying down and getting a good sleep like everybody else will normally do. But like average day, I say like we do like 3 workouts a day. Mm-hmm. That's strength and conditioning, including my road work, running my miles every day, and then on top of boxing training, meeting up with my coaches, Craig Thurman, and then Coach Ron and everything. So, kind of iffy.
Where you training at right now?
Right now, we actually waiting on this new gym to open. Prime Performance will be opening probably within the next month. It's either going to be out there in Trotwood in the Consumer Square, or it's going to be down here on East 5th Street at the old Baumberger Teen Center.
Okay. I saw something about that in the news, and I know they were trying to get, Mr. Pearson was trying to get that opened up right before the holidays or right after. So just to clarify that, it's not officially open yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, I just missed you. So how are you getting all of this done in with the strength and training? Where is that happening right now?
We is at Premier Fitness, and then most of the time I go to LA Fitness too for my road work because of the weather being kind of cold. So I go LA Fitness, get in the sauna, do my strength, do like 7 miles on a treadmill. Yeah, that's that workout.
Now you do a lot of this kind of like outside of your trainer not being with. I mean, because ideally we see boxers in the gym with the trainers getting that one-on-one. I'm just looking at somebody like Lamont Peterson. I was really fond of what he was doing with his for the fight that he prepared for Garcia. You doing a lot of this stuff on your own, self-motivated? How's that working out for you?
Pretty much both. Like most of it is with my trainers, but I actually just started back training with them probably like within the last couple of weeks. So most of it was by myself with just the motivation of everyday life for real.
Right.
Living in Dayton.
Right. Trying to make it out. I got you. So how'd you get started in the amateurs on this? I saw, sometimes I see, just as a fight fan, I see a lot of guys that may have, 100 amateur fights, maybe even as many as 250 or 300. You getting a later start. What does your amateur background consist of?
Amateur, we actually turned out pretty good. 12 losses, over 50 wins, a couple titles, including the Buster Douglas tournament down there in Ohio at the Ohio State Fair. Won that a few times. The Missouri Black Expo tournament, won that a few times. Fought in the Golden Gloves, made it to the Nationals, and then Nationals we got to like the quarterfinals or the semifinals. And at the National, that's where all the top fighters basically collide at and meet. So went to the National Pals probably like twice. Did good up there. And then the Olympic qualifier, did good down there. So we actually turned out pretty good with the amateurs.
Now, is that kind of rare that a fighter only has maybe that's about 62, 65 fights in amateurs? Is that something is that kind of rare?
It actually, like, it's not, but like a lot of the good fighters, like you said, have like up to 200, 300 amateur fights. But then there's some fighters that only have like 15 to 20 or even one if they had that. So it kind of varies.
So what prompted you to go, to say I'm gonna go on and lead the amateur ranks? What pushed that along?
Just after fighting a few times, going undefeated in the amateurs, it's like why not just up the competition? Like go to these big tournaments, see what I could do. Like, trying to build my fan base with it.
Okay. Who's the team that puts all this together? Because you mentioned fighting in Missouri, fighting in Columbus, Ohio. That's about an hour away from Dayton. Some of these other stops that you made along the way with the nationals and whatnot, where did those take place at? And who's the team that kind of helps you manage all of that?
Everything, like, as far as like the national tournaments, it's levels to it. Like, you gotta win a state. You win state, you go to the regionals. You win the regionals, you go to the nationals. And Dayton, we started Cincinnati, like, for the state and the regionals. And after beating the fighters down there, I got basically bumped up to the nationals to represent Tri-State Golden Gloves. So I think that's like Cincinnati, Columbus, Dayton, and everything in that area. So all the top fighters that won the regional Golden Gloves, they go out to the nationals and fight everybody, like all the other regional Golden Glove winners. So starting off with that, I actually did my whole amateur career with Dayton Metro World Class Sports, which is under Kenny Milliner.
Okay. So how's the family? I read that you mostly raised by women, around women.
Right.
I saw the story about you and your father, kind of that being a non-existent relationship. How's the family supported you through this journey so far?
I mean, like, it's crazy, but I say, like, my little sisters and my big sister, they, out of my family, is basically the most supportive. Like, my little sisters, they just now been able to actually come to the fights and everything, so we're going to get them more active in it. My big sister, she's came to fights a few times and everything. As far as mom, it's like a hit and miss thing. It's like a love-hate relationship, but I mean, everybody go through it for the most part. That's about it. My brothers, they support my boxing. Like, they haven't came to any of the fights yet, but they support it to the fullest. So
that's good, man. I mean, I think that's one of the, and I think I saw it in some of your social media posting and whatnot. You said something, I can't think of where I saw it, but just that's one of the things that I like about the fight game. Is probably my second or third top sport that I follow. Is that I was mentioning it yesterday with looking at some of these playoff games. Is that because I know you had the big cut against Caro
Capo.
Arrow. I know you had the big cut over your right eye, I believe.
Yeah,
that was a horrific looking injury. Crazy. But like you said, there is nobody to tap in. You know, there is no next man up. And you know, you didn't seem to really waver in your, you know, trying to get the job done. So, but it's just interesting with you fighters because it is this one man sport. But in all of the post fight interviews, you hear, you know, we tried to get the jab working, or right. We tried to do this, or we tried to do that. But you know, it was only you
didn't do it, right?
Right. So I always find that to be a little bit a little humorous myself. So before we get into some of your pro stuff, how did some of these other, I know you just said it was levels, if you can get into any details of that for anybody that's pressed play, how does a Dayton, Ohio kid get to the Missouri Black Expo for that competition? Basically
just put in the work. Like starting off, you gonna feel like you doing it for no reason and everything, but at the same time, like, it'll pay off in the long run. That's all I have to say. Like, basically, if you want it, just go for it.
Right. Now, did you do all the amateur stuff at 160? Was that everything you were fighting at?
Amateur, I started fighting at 152, but then one of my teammates, actually two of my teammates ended up coming to that weight class too. So I started moving, like, I moved up because I didn't want to fight my teammates in certain, like, in the tournaments and stuff. Like, doing the whole amateur thing, I even had to fight my cousin before, and we fought on the same team. So, like, I don't train to fight them, so, plus we both in the gym together, so.
You guys spar?
Right, we spar with each other and everything, so it was easy to kind of, like, edge the victory over on stuff like that. And then with me, it was like,